Hello, everybody, and welcome to, I keep going to say Tarot and Attitude. I say that so
Go
much
for it.
throughout the week. Crossing Realms together with our wonderful host, Laura Van Tyne from the Karmic Path, and me, the Reverend Rob Lee from Tarot and Attitude. Try to fit all that in, man. I need to come up with us a video intro too, so we can actually be jazzy and snazzy and everything
All
else.
right,
So,
I'm down.
okay, I'll work on that one. All
Okay.
right, maybe we could have Bigfoot roll out our logo or something.
I like it.
That would be so cool. Bigfoot comes out with a logo, and the alien walks out and blasts off with it. Okay, now I'm getting creative. There we go. We'll have to find out what's going on. So, Miss Laura, how are you this evening?
I am well, thank you. It's been a busy week. I just got back from San Diego. Quick little visit. It was fun. So yeah, not too bad.
I don't know if I've never been to San Diego and don't know if I want to go. I would have to be in the mood for that and all those people and the throng.
I lived most of my life in San Diego, and I moved a couple years ago. It was very different then than it is now, like everywhere else, right? But
right,
it's so crowded. It's like, even though we lived in an area where there wasn't a lot of, we're the city in the country, the crosswalks actually have two levels. Okay, so you got your human crosswalk where you push the button, and then if you're riding horseback, they got one that's like 3 feet higher. You push the button.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I just didn't picture San Diego and horses.
Well, we were just east of Del Mar, but it's changed. So there's like 3-story apartment buildings, and it's not the same. I mean, I miss it, but I don't miss the new version. So
nothing stays the same. It really does. Miss Pam, it is good to see you. Wow. Welcome. I haven't seen you in so long. I can't wait to see you. So thank you for being here. But yeah, no, that's kind of crazy. I don't know. I haven't done a lot about West. Arizona's been about it, and that's Camelback and
okay.
What's the other one, right in that same area?
It's the Phoenix area, Camelback and stuff.
Yeah, because did a lot of call center work out there, was in Las Cruces for a long time.
Okay.
Doing things like that. Yeah. I like the dryness about West, but that whole California thing, that this whole country may have a problem.
I'll tell you what, it's ridiculous now. So to register your car every single year, it's like $800 a year. I mean, that's just like one thing. So anyways, I know we're digressing. We're talking tonight about near-death experiences.
So we wound up in San Diego. So
yeah.
Near-death experience.
Well, it was my birthday, and I hung out with my kids. So
it was your birthday?
It was, yes.
We have a tradition on Tarot with Attitude.
Okay.
I have to sing happy birthday. It's just part of it.
Oh, okay? My.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, my little demon killer. Happy birthday to you. Wow, happy birthday. I did not know that. Thank you. The hits just keep on coming. So,
I'm looking for the next one. I saw somebody mention, can you get Bigfoot to sing and dance? So there you go.
Yeah, I saw Tootie said that, and that's
yeah.
What's Bigfoot without a song?
Right? I know. And I want to say hey to Amelia also, who's not too far from me. So also.
All right. There you go. Yeah. Okay. So everybody, yes, tonight we're talking about near-death experiences. I want to do this. I want to ask everybody, and this is yes or no. Okay. First question, audience participation. Okay. How many of you believe in an afterlife? Just type yes or no. And if you don't, it's okay. It's okay, because some of my belief about some of this might throw some people for a loop, especially with what I do. But here we go. So everybody put in, all right, so I've got some yeses rolling in. Yes. Kind of what I thought. Kind of hard to be spiritual and not think of, an afterlife. So, Miss Laura, I know you believe in it. Okay. What is your version? Where do you see the afterlife and seeing what's happening? Ray,
So
good to see you.
I see a lot. And I work a lot in these realms. And what I find, and those that kind of know what I do, a lot of times um people get stuck between heaven and earth. Those are called ghosts, right? So is there an afterlife? I'm going to say yes, of course there is, right? Because Christ talks about life everlasting, not life and then compost, right? So when we're talking about life everlasting, what does that look like? And it looks like many things. When we die and we cross over, and everybody that's watching this show will probably end up crossing over into the heavens versus lingering as a ghost because of what you know of the process. And when we cross over, we go to the higher realms, we get those lessons of the life lived and how to do things, and the maybe you would have, could have, should have, or how to do things, or all of
Where it
this.
all gets put together for us when we
Yeah, the big
oh,
puzzle.
okay, that's right. I remember why I went,
Yeah, the
that
big
type of thing.
puzzle. And then, dang it, all of us are so overzealous. We're like, hey, I want to do that again. That was fun. You forget about it.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, there is an afterlife. And I think, with afterlives, I think near death experiences are a big piece of this puzzle to show us what can happen.
Okay, and that was going to be another question. So, as far as the afterlife for me, yes, I most definitely believe in an afterlife. But I don't know that I believe in the afterlife of, hey, Laura, all of us getting together for a big family reunion, 'cause some of my family didn't like me. I know that's hard to understand. It's totally hard to comprehend. But there are some people that don't like me. And even if when they go to heaven, well, if you don't like me, I don't know if you can go or not. It's one of those things where, I don't see this. I think we have sometimes way too simplistic a view of an afterlife. Does that make sense?
Yes. We don't.
On by the church,
Yes,
or
we don't
deride.
sit on a cloud and play the harp forever. That's just dumb, right? Yeah, and so Donna, awesome. Yeah, this is what we're talking about here. So when it comes to the afterlife, we are actually, when we're there as spirits, we're busy. We're doing things, we're learning, we're creating. And when you're talking about going, up to the higher realms, and you've got these family members that don't like you, trust me, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Okay. And that's fine. Um, when we're out of these earthly mortal bodies, does our form of consciousness shift? Like, oh, you know what? I was supposed to be a jerk in this life to Reverend Rob so he can learn a few things, right?
Right.
Or vice versa. So we have to understand that we're playing these different roles for a reason also. So when we do get over there, and Uncle Sal, I don't even know a Sal, but he's always my like go-to. Uncle Sal, who is this big jerk at every family reunion, destroying everything. We get up there and it's like, oh, hey, yeah, did I do a good job making your life miserable down there? Is that a possibility? Yes.
Right. And that's where I don't know. I'm my jury is still out on how this all forms. I know it does, okay? But when we talk about, you know, uh twin flames, soulmates, things like this, they're one person that can divide their soul into two and to go on and move. Now, again, the soulmate thing, all that stuff, I've said all the time. I don't think it's quite what everybody thinks it is, and it's not such a big deal to meet soulmate in this life unless everybody's lessons are done. If you're coming together afterwards, if you're trying to search your soulmate, but you've not allowed your soulmate, there's a reason your soulmate separated from you to begin with. So, and I don't want to get off on that, but I
Well,
always
it is part of that life after death, life after life experience. And
Mhm.
we have these experiences so we can have the experiences. The living a mortal life isn't easy. And for many of us on this mortal life track, we grow spiritually quicker also, right? We're given this time, space, and dimension, the physicality, to have these experiences. And it's so dense here, it's heavy here. So when we leave these heavy bodies, we literally are lightened up to have these honest conversations and these elements of learning about who we truly are as a soul, or relearning who we are as a soul. And
Right.
when it comes to twin flames and soulmates and stuff, we got to be careful that we don't focus our attention on just those things, because we're missing out on life.
Right. You came here for a purpose. You split apart for a purpose. Things are here. Have you learned that lesson yet? Different things. There are people I know that have met their soulmate. The lesson was learned. They came together and they function as a couple just unbelievably. You know, I'm just crazy. And one of the things though, and I here's one of my questions to myself, where I talk to myself and I talk to spirit. Okay. When we look at it from a scientific point of view to a degree, all right, when you get thoughts in your head and you cannot get thoughts out of your head, when you're taking on depressive thoughts, negative energy, and I'm not talking about anything influenced from the outside, just us allowing a depressive or negative energy state to overcome our being, all right, we always say, we talk to ourselves on the inside. Okay. Well, if that's our brain, if our brain is the center of our consciousness, we would be more in control of those aspects, because they're all emanating from the physicality of the brain. Thus, like we say, I love with all my heart. Well, you know, but we know this. When we think about our consciousness and we think about these things, where do you feel these thoughts when you're alone with yourself emanate from? And I don't feel it's my brain. And my ex-wife would tell you, no, you never use your brain. It's one of those things where I hear it and I more form all of this between third eye chakra, okay, and basically throat chakra just above. My point is, I feel it here. Well, if that's not an organ, is that where our consciousness emanates from? And then how does that move on into a near-death experience, which I think it does. Am I making any sense at all?
It does. And my perception is that the seed atom of the soul, the energy that animates the body, resides within the heart chakra. But having exactly what you say, this is where you feel it. This is where I don't want to call it a blockage, but it's not, because it's not really, but you know what I mean? This is where you're feeling it. So our organs also hold emotions that we're living in. Okay. Our organs in our bodies absorb emotions. Liver is usually anger. Kidneys are grief, sadness. I can't stomach this. My gallbladder is upset and I have a lot of gall. So I think it's different for individuals as to where, I want to say, either their weaknesses, or because we all have physiological weaknesses. Okay. For a long time, mine was my lungs.
Right.
I would get sick, boom, my lungs. So when we learn how to strengthen that, does that shift it? Is this our normal state here? You know, if this is mine here.
And I'm just saying it emanates from in between, because I'm not talking about, yes, you're right. We know that certain things affect the liver, the gallbladder, and those, when we're in certain states of emotional, they attach, thus Reiki healing, things like that or whatnot. But what I'm saying is, where do you feel your center of your consciousness, your decisions, your morality, your life choices? Where does that emanate from to you?
It's going to be in the heart area, but this is like, it's the same area, but I'm going down a little bit down a little bit lower than you, but it's like right in here, right?
Okay.
And when,
so you're saying more sacral chakra area up into the throat chakra.
In here. Now the whole energetic body, however, encapsulates all of this. And we're talking about our physical body, our emotional body, our mental bodies, all of the things, right? They're all encapsulated. So when we die and we leave these physical bodies, the energy that animates the soul has to go somewhere. That silver cord, that Aka cord that connects us to our soul to the body, becomes severed. And that's when we release from the body, when that cord has been severed. And it's an Aka cord. And think of Akashic records. I remember the first time I had that experience. So my dad died, gosh, almost 20 years ago, way too young. And I always had a really good connection to him, and I never could understand it. So when I would have this connection, I would talk to my dad, I would always see the silver cord emanate out of my chakras right here. And it was this silvery blue cord. I never knew what it was, but it was normal. It's how I grew up. And then when my dad died, and he got sick, he died of pancreatic cancer, and he was gone within a month to 6 weeks. It was really quick, blessing and a curse, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that silver cord snap, and his body floated out, and he showed up. And I want to say it was like 3 or 4 in the morning. And he showed up in my bedroom, and he was just flying around, and he was making the ceiling fan twirl and all these things. His soul had left the body because that Aka cord was firmly cut. He could not go back into the body.
Right.
And with a near-death experience, you leave the body, but that cord that tethers you to your soul to the body is still there.
So when people have a near-death experience, and here's the thought that I have. I've had NDEs, but more because of past jobs, things like that, positions that I put myself in, or doing what of having that life flash before your eyes thing while you're still awake and conscious. I've not had an NDE where I'm out doing whatever. Okay. What I'm seeing is, and when you look at NDEs cross-culturally, they share a lot of similarities. All right. But you can also see where Christians will put, oh, I saw Christ, I saw angels. Okay. Middle Eastern Islamic will say, I saw Muhammad, and it's some of that. So that's where I know something's happening. But I think our brain, when we don't make that connection, is trying to make logical sense of what's going on. So it gives us what we know. Does that make sense? Or what we strongly believe in?
Because we're still consciously connected to the body, right? Our soul and the body has not been fully separated. And I have not had an NDE, but I've worked with a lot of NDE survivors. And I'll tell you, and I've even worked with them in past life regressions, which was always very fascinating. I've had a few of those. In the past life regression, I have somebody who wants to commit suicide, just wants to commit suicide. And he's like, I don't know why I want to commit suicide. I want to commit suicide. It's too much, blah, blah, blah. So we do a past life regression. And it gets to the question, why do you want to commit suicide? The answer is that at that same age that this person was then, I think he was like 28. In a previous lifetime, he had an NDE, and his psyche was craving the freedom of the heavens. And when he had that NDE in that lifetime, he was able to grow spiritually so much faster than he has been now. It was almost like a sort of spiritual bypassing moment where he had options where, I'm being very general, okay? He had options of moving the needle forward or just, squirreling around with it. So that was an interesting conversation to have with his higher self. He was afforded an NDE, and he didn't, in that lifetime, he squandered those lessons away. And in this lifetime, he's trying to have that same experience on a subconscious level. He didn't know why. And now he's like, oh, I get it.
Well, and that's what there is, a very large belief that an NDE offers a glimpse into a soul's continued existence beyond any boundaries, beyond the body. And like
Yeah.
you said, so that would make sense that he felt was just on the edge of that freedom in a previous life. Now he's back and he doesn't remember. And this is why I'm a little leery about some of this. Well, we're here to learn a lesson or whatnot. I think we are. Okay. But it just, part of my sticks in my craw of how do I learn it if I don't remember anything? If I don't know why I'm here. Okay.
I know.
And so some of that is okay, I get it. But I also think when I think that way, my thinking is coming down rather than going up, because we have to remember that if what we believe in all of this is true, okay, our life here is a drop of a
Oh,
grain of sand in a sandbox.
it's
So
a
literally,
nanosecond.
this is irrelevant. We are basically in our real body, in our spiritual body, in our ethereal bodies, we're having a nightmare that less, or a good dream. Could be either one of it. Could be a combination of both. Okay. And like when we pass and that cord is cut, our other person wakes up going, whoa, okay, no more ethereal tacos before bed for me, okay, or whatnot. But I do believe there are people we connect with, thus why deja vu is so strong. How you can meet people and think, oh, I know you,
Yeah.
but you've never met before, have a strange,
You have a strange intense love relationship, or quite the opposite, a hate relationship with somebody that you don't even know, right?
oh yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah.
What are those spidey senses about? And, while we're talking about this, if anybody out there has an NDE experience they would like to share, we'd love to hear about it while we're talking here. Again, that goes into the reincarnation cycle. I think I've talked about this before, but I had this woman who was like, she was a relative of a friend of mine, and she was gunning for me, and I didn't know why or what. So it was just, she kept psychically attacking me, but I didn't know. I didn't know
Mhm.
why. I didn't know what was happening, but she was psychically attacking me, and I could hear her voice in my sleep state. This is not an NDE. And then I'm sitting in an acupuncturist's office waiting, and she chokes me, and I'm like, whoa. Now the flashback of that lifetime comes through. It's like, whoa, she murdered me in that past lifetime. No wonder she doesn't like me in this lifetime.
Right.
So there's so many themes and variation, but with an NDE, usually there's a root cause for it. There was a medical emergency. There was an accident, perhaps, right? And so now this person, yeah, I would love to hear about one or both of your NDEs, Deborah.
Yeah.
Um, you know, an accident that caused somebody to leave their body, and now they've got a decision to make. And I have had several clients that have been in these horrific auto accidents, and they leave their body, they're pronounced dead. And these are just moments in earth time, but upstairs, so to speak, they are having full on conversations with their spirit guides and light beings and angels
Right.
and all these beings to decide what's the best protocol. Do you really want to get into this body again, even though it's all mangled up? Do you want to get in there because you have little kids? Do you want to get back in because you have stuff to do? Do you want to come back in so you can take the recall of this NDE and share it, so others now have a profound understanding and a belief of God, a higher realm, life after death kind of concept?
Yeah, and one of the things, and that stems into something I'm a huge believer in, and it really irritates me. If somebody's going to say, I don't believe in God, I don't believe in a higher power, I don't believe in anything, I have no problem with that. That's fine. But when they ask me why I do, or why would that God allow certain things to happen? Why would he allow your father, who was a good father, to die of cancer? Okay. To have less time. I do believe that one of the gifts we have been given is free will. Okay. And it's kind of like, everybody going, I want to be safe. I want to be safe. I want to be safe. Well, if I put you in a concrete room with no windows, I seal it up, you've got to wait on me to come give you food. The minute I put a slot in the door, I have now given a place, a potential area for you not to be 100% safe. Once we take on and we accept free will in a multitude of, and a lot of times we could say today, idiots, but other people that aren't thinking, they're not moving, they haven't mastered anything or whatnot, and they're drinking and driving, and they cross that center line, boom, take you out. This is part of free will. You chose, kind of like going to the casino, you chose to risk, okay, death, pain, hurt, emotions, all of this, okay, in order to have this life. Now, I believe a lot of the near-death experience is what you just talked about. Boom. In some of these instantaneous, they're pronounced dead, they stop doing CPR or whatnot. In that time, I believe things happen so quickly, like you said, that at some point, before you go and before that cord is cut, you are given permission. A lot of people are given permission to go, you didn't complete your task. Okay. Are you sure? Like you said, some people come back, different things. It's also in that, what am I here to learn? A lot of people come back talking about increased gifts, psychic intuition, all of these abilities. And I believe sometimes when spirit sees us on a track, it could be spirit knocked us out to go, you're so close. Tune in.
Yeah.
Again. So
It isn't tuning in. It's, heart attack. People who have heart attacks often talk about an NDE, and they leave the body and it feels so good and it feels so light and warmth and all the good things. And then they can watch what's happening from the higher realms onto the earth plane, right? So
right.
now they're seeing, what would life be without them? What does life look like without them? That you can see people crying, you can see people mourning, in the fear of, the heart attack or whatever it is. And when we have this, it gives us these moments to realize that, we have these moments. And, I'm kind of pausing for a moment because, she has said in a previous one, she had a friend with an NDE at the beginning of it. He had a lot of details, a lot of graphic stuff coming to him. And a year later, he was managing one of the largest Oregon forest fires.
Right.
So, and then he's got all these family with him too. So imagine with all of that, what that looks like. And we have to understand that these moments are precious.
Right.
And we have to understand that we have the ability to make choices, like you said. But these moments of having a near-death experience can help us understand how to live life on a deeper, more meaningful level. They can help us understand the fragility of life too, right?
Right.
And I think Tootie mentioned that she also had an NDE. I remember her talking about that. And so what does that look like? What does that sound like? And a lot of times we get to see the angels in full force during those moments. They
Exactly.
are golden. They are, if you've ever seen an angel in full aspect, it takes your breath away. A lot of times when we're in these physical bodies, we feel and sense a projection of an angel, but their frequencies are so high that it would like blast us out of our bodies. But if you're out of the body in an NDE and you're seeing these angelic realms, it is amazing.
Would you mind if I brought up a tarot card?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is directly in relation to what Tootie said. I thought I had an NDE when I was 19 in a medical emergency. But now I wonder, after hearing my friend's story, Tootie, your story is your story. Your experience is your experience. And they don't have to match, be the same, or do anything. So when I read that, I literally reached over, started cutting a deck of cards. Okay. And I said, what's the message for Tootie? And I want you to see what card actually came up. This is craziness right here. The Magician. 1, the beginning, the individual. Tootie, your story is your story. And look, in this one, we have the Ouroboros, the infinity signal, however you want to see it, over your head. Tootie, that experience for you is your experience. Take what you want from it, all right, and understand it, but you don't have to compare yourself to anybody else or their experience. Just like Laura and I are saying right now, we are talking out loud about things and thoughts. And Tootie, you know, Laura, we don't talk a lot before these things. Most we ever talk generally is during a meeting, okay? Or if we're planning an event somewhere, all right? And this is what I want you to understand, Tootie. Look, you had your experience. What did it mean to you? Okay? Don't doubt yourself, all right?
Well, and I like the infinity loop in this because it's literally life everlasting, right? And, and there's, where I'm going to compare her stories here. She's got a friend who had an NDE later in life with all the grandkids and things, right?
Right.
When you're 19, your perspective on life is so different, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of us have had NDEs, but we didn't know what to call it. So Lakeside Laura's talking about it right now. But she doesn't remember so much. But I think there's many different levels and variations. And sometimes when we leave the body for an NDE, the angelics in the higher realms are actually healing the physical body if there's an issue.
Absolutely.
And so they come back and it's a miracle. Okay. Everything is great and wonderful, but we don't know. There's so many purposes for a near-death experience. One is, to put you back on track. Another purpose for a near-death experience is that we have to learn some things. We have to share some things to repair the body, to do other elements that are beyond human capability, because maybe I was born into, like Lakeside Laura's talking about, maybe she was in the hospital, she's 3, she's got something going on. And the light side is like, you know what? We got to fix this body. We got to tune things out because she has a certain mission or something she has to complete in this lifetime to help humanity. No pressure, Laura. That could be quite the possibility.
Well,
And
we'll be waiting for the cure of cancer next Wednesday when you report in.
same time.
So, yeah.
So, these angelics are always around for near-death experiences, and angels transcend dimensions. They transcend cultures. And we have to know that they are here to support us. And I talk about this all the time. They are here to support us. They are here to assist us. We have to ask for their help. Now I'm having an NDE and I'm with the angels. Clearly my soul is working with the angels on that one. So there's so many reasons and purposes for these. Exactly. Oh, sweet. She's going to go to Journey to Truth. I look forward to meeting you in person, Laura.
That'll be fun. There you go. I got to go to one of these things. I really,
what? I know it's only it's like 19 days away. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so that, these are things and thus I'm working on, and I've told you I'm working on it. And folks, this is going to start coming into fruition here real quick. An actual class, a thing about understanding religion, spirituality, metaphysicality. And what does it all really mean? You don't have, people are turning the metaphysical world and spirituality into a religion because they're trying to apply their rules to everybody else. And it doesn't work that way. Near-death experiences, any of this, your relationship with spirit and what happens when you pass is your personal relationship, the conversations you will have or not have. These things are all to you. There is in as much individualized as you are. And I think in a lot of the near-death experience, our brain, our logic, because it's not fully disconnected, and they will say there's no brain waves or whatnot, we're not getting any brain waves. But at the same point, I still feel that conscious is connected to the brain, and it's ciphering through. They're both working together to make it so you can understand what's happening at that
We're
point.
still connected. The body and soul are still connected. Absolutely.
Right.
And when it comes to these elements, where was it going with that? Oh, we were talking about spirituality and religion and all of these things. I was asked a really good question today. A little off topic, but I think it's worth repeating.
Okay.
This mom of 2 young kids asked me, she goes, my husband and I are very disenfranchised with the church. There's been a lot of things going on and things like this. And I'm like, I understand that. She goes, and we're struggling to help our children understand what is the difference between church and being spiritual and God and all of these things. I thought it was a great question. I'm like, well, I think your kids here are here to challenge you in this aspect, right? These are hard things to define. But I said, what if you told your kids it's as simple as this? God is within everything on this planet, right? God is within everything. So when you open your windows up in the morning and you tell your children, I want you to listen to the bird song because that bird song is God's voice. You wake up with the bird song, you go to bed with the bird song. It helps the circadian rhythm. It helps all of the brain waves, all of these things. This is God in action. And I just thought it was such a good question she asked. And yeah.
And some of that's what this class I'm going to be doing is going to take on. All kinds of different aspects, things like that, because I need people to start freeing their mind. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind, change anybody's religion or what, but be open and understand that there are other possibilities out there. And yours doesn't mean mine's wrong. Mine doesn't mean yours wrong. There's all kinds of things there.
Yeah.
And, so Amber asks a great question. Thoughts on person having numerous NDEs in a lifetime, where there should be flags on this to me. Laura, what do you think?
I have some theories.
Okay.
First of all, there's the flag that I'm not learning the lesson. Okay. But there's also the flag that during my NDEs, I'm going to say I'm getting upgraded. If I have multiple NDEs, am I being worked on for a certain ascension mission in this lifetime? So everybody on this planet is here because they have soul purposes. They have a purpose for living. Sometimes the soul purpose is surviving childhood. Sometimes it's surviving addiction. Sometimes it's learning to love unconditionally. There's all these soul purposes. And when we complete a soul purpose or 2 or 5, we go on to the next set, right? So there are also people who have soul missions on this planet. And these are the people who are helping humanity to ascend, to heal, to learn. And so if somebody's having multiple NDEs, are they working with the higher realms to get their messaging straight, to get their vibrational frequencies elevated? It's a possibility. And I think the other possibility is that maybe these NDEs are like, God's like, you need to self-correct is a possibility too. So I think it's a great question that is open for multiple answers.
And that's what I believe. There's no one size fits all. If you follow what I was just talking about with religion. Now, I would look at this and say, okay, what life path are you on? Okay. Where are you at in your journey that's causing you to have such trauma that multiple times you're being declared dead? So again, that's what I'm saying. Flags going off, things like this. What's happening? So this goes into a deeper conversation, okay, with each individual, because those answers could be completely different. Okay. One could be, all right, that because we've been given free will, all right, they keep opting to return. They're given an
Are you sure
okay,
you
here
want to go
you
back?
go. Here you go. Yeah, you sure you want to do this again? Here you go.
Yeah.
Other thing could be that they have something dire they're supposed to take care of, and they are so far off course that
Mhm.
spirit's like, no, you're not coming home yet,
That's quite the whack by
but
a cosmic 2x4, right?
they're whacked by the cosmic 2x4,
Yep.
So as much as your mind and your conscious can open up to why somebody has NDEs, it could be a good thing that they're very connected. It could also be they're spiritually dense. Okay. It can run all ends of that spectrum. Okay. So don't make, again, that's up to them to determine. And then I would want to hear how these are occurring. Okay. To make sense of it.
And do
That's
we have to be declared dead to have an NDE, or is it the experience in itself, right?
right.
Yeah.
And that's what I think a lot of people forget is when we're talking about a true near death experience, when we say near death, heart stopped, because we can go from trauma to NDE, and everything that could happen between that is like the Grand Canyon in
Right.
spirituality.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
could be we could go off so many line items and things like that. It's one of those things where, yeah, all right, somebody may be having it. Don't doubt them, okay? But okay, if you I've had 5 car wrecks, 5 times I was pronounced dead and came back. My first question is, if we're going to coffee, is what about your passenger? If you're driving,
Yeah.
just, and I'm being
Yeah,
silly,
fair.
but there comes a point of, wait a minute, okay, what's going on here? And let's find out about it. But that's up to them and spirit and to find the help they need. Now, Gillian asked a question. That open dialogue about religion and spirituality is the best thing my parents taught me. It has given me such a broad perspective on people and their faith. Absolutely. Absolutely. And she was blessed with parents that were open-minded, and you got to find your own way, So, that's one thing.
Nice,
So,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what's happening. All right. Let me see here. There you go. 5 times. Here's your son.
Oh, man. Yeah, yeah. I was
Yeah.
talking to somebody else and earlier today, and she's like, I wasn't sure if I had an NDE or not, as was what she was saying. And it's a very fair question.
Sure.
She ended up having a seizure, and she was watching all these stars and lights come at her, and she's like, wow, this is kind of cool. This is fun. Da, 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 da. And then she couldn't quite get to the light, and she was brought back into her body, right?
Right.
And so, I'm like, maybe you didn't get as far as you wanted to. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's one of those things of, and again, like being an empath. There are a lot of people that declare they're an empath that just use it for an excuse for them to be an asshole. You have to forgive me because I've been, I'm carrying all this grief around. No, I don't. I don't have to forgive you. If you're going to be an empath, the same person or being that gave you that talent gave you the means to control it. Why don't you step back away, learn to control it, and stop using it for an excuse to be a little Debbie Downer? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there are times you need to understand that and be compassionate with them, but you have to be very careful. And in this, one of those things is you don't have it. Does it make you worse than somebody else? And I think this is that what you and I talked about in other shows, that rating system of the metaphysical. Well, I had an NDE, and we're actually running around feeling jealous. Oh, I didn't almost die. Thank you. If I can go the rest of my life and not have an NDE, I'll take it. Okay.
I went through a big chunk of my life living other people's deaths. It sucked. Literally, I was getting thrown through car windshields. It was awful. Every time I came upon a death scene or somebody came at me, they would shove their death experience on me and feeling the pain and all the things. Those were not NDEs, but oh my gosh, right? It's like, because I had to figure out how to stop it for starters.
Right.
And this empath thing, the good news is you're sensitive. The bad news is you're sensitive. You got to learn how to deal with it.
Exactly.
Period. And there's a lot of competition for who's more spiritual in like the circles that we walk in. And the minute spirituality becomes a competition, it's not.
And that's what I say.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people go around spouting, I'm spiritual, I'm not religious. Well, here's a news flash for you, sweetheart. Okay. You can be religious and still be spiritual. Okay. You can be spiritual and still be religious. You can be spiritual and not be religious. You can be religious and not be spiritual. It's all one of those things. Stop scorekeeping. And I've said all along, I hear somebody, well, my Reiki master was the person who taught me Reiki was a something degree, master. I know Reiki. I couldn't tell you if my Reiki teacher had kids or not. Okay. Yeah. I don't care. Did I get the knowledge? Okay. Mm-hmm. And this is where, and what people need to realize, people are starting to take the metaphysical world and the spiritual world and turn it into their own religion.
Oh, yeah.
You don't believe my way. And next thing you know, you're just as bad as the Baptists. I pick on the Baptists because my dad was a Baptist preacher. Okay. You're just as bad. When you take somebody's spiritual experience and belittle it or make yours better, you need to go back to your spirituality and have another conversation with your higher conscious, that person that's over you.
I had this idea years ago and I've never acted on it, but I have these thoughts in my head that I rarely let escape, but I'll let this one escape.
Okay.
So I thought, gosh, you know what would be a really good money-making scheme? You start a cult and it's between the 2 points, equal distance between 2 Starbucks, and you call it Between the Bucks.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Wow.
So, yeah, but in all seriousness, with NDEs, here's a question. Are we warned that something is going to happen to us before we have an NDE encounter? Right?
Exactly. Right. Did something happen that, spirit's like, oh, this is going to suck. Okay.
Yeah.
That, the angels couldn't protect. It was so far out of the realm. Like I said, you get hit by a semi, jump on a guardrail. Okay. And that's when you said, well, God should jump in and stop the semi. Now we go from the difference. If God's doing that, our whole life has changed. Everything's changed. What are we to learn? Because everybody's a believer now. And it's not that they believe, they know. Okay. And somewhere in here, there's a difference between, my dad gave a very good example of this. Okay. When I was 4, and most of y'all will remember, if you were stuck on the roof, if daddy jumped out and said, jump, I'll catch you. He's caught us so many times before, we bail and we don't even think, we just know daddy's going to catch us. Okay. That's knowing.
Yeah.
Believe is when your little brother jumps out. Okay. And says, jump, I'll catch you. Hell no. If you make that jump, that's believing he's going to do it. There's the difference.
Yeah.
Okay. I can look at a chair, shake a chair, and say, yeah, I don't know if I want to sit my big butt in this chair, which I do at restaurants all the time. Okay. Or I can look at a chair and say, this chair is made right. And I trust it and I sit down in it because I know the structure. I know. Am I making sense here?
Yeah, you're talking about a form of spiritual discernment, right?
Correct. Yes, exactly.
Absolutely. And when we have blind faith is scary. It's dangerous in many cases. We got to understand, like, you're looking at the chair. Is it sturdy? Is it not sturdy? This is discernment, and we need to vet our spirit guides. We need to vet our friends, even our family members. Are they really for my greater good or
Right.
not? Or what am I supposed to learn from them? And these near-death experiences are, in my opinion, are learning experiences for all of us, especially when you hear people go out and talk about them, talking about their near-death experience and what it was like, because I think it gives us hope. It gives us glimpses into the heavens, the higher realms. It may help people who are on maybe a more atheistic path to understand what this is like. I remember I had these two ghosts that showed up in my bedroom and master bathroom once, because everything was always in the bedroom, remember?
Yep.
And they were farmers, and they, I'm going to say like 1800s, they were farmers. And they obviously died in the same accident, and they were just tooling around. And I'm like, what the heck are you guys doing here? We're like, they're just wandering. They didn't know what to do. They didn't believe in God. And they're like, well, we don't believe in God. And, we weren't really sure what to do. So we just kind of, mosey on around. And when I brought in a set of angels to cross them over, they were stunned. They always thought angels were a myth.
Right.
And crossing them over, they were just like, it was uncanny to me how surprised they were that the angels were there and that they didn't have to live this existence they were existing in for over 100 years. Because they were definitely, you can tell when a soul dies and they don't cross over, you are wearing the clothes as a ghost that you died in. Okay, so
Right.
news flash, don't die naked. If you do die naked, cross over.
Yeah. Yeah. Go to the light, please. For everybody else to say, go to the light.
Yeah.
I am going to haunt Laura's bedroom when I die because I sleep naked. So it's good. No, I'm only, I've already told my wife.
I got a solution for that now.
Here he goes again.
Yeah, yeah. I got a solution for that now, though. So they don't do
oh,
that
she's
anymore.
Gonna banish me. Gee whiz. So yeah, no, it's funny. Folks, remember this, okay? And I don't know why I've seen this coming up in Facebook a lot lately, and I don't know if Spirit knew, and I haven't answered any of them, that we were going to have this discussion. But on this note, there's a lot of these pop-ups that say every night you die. Let me tell you something. No, you don't. Okay. We get very close to death when our system's all shut down and we go into a full sleep. Things go into paralysis, different things or whatnot. But you're not dead. If that be the case, every dream, every nightmare, every one of those weird talking donkey dreams you had is a near-death experience. And it takes away from the validity and what the value of a near-death experience is. You can receive the same information, okay, if we take our time and we start being truly spiritual, which means you're having a personal relationship with your spirit, with your guides, with your angels, with the mother, with the father. Yes, I believe in both. They're all one and the same. All right. And that's where we can do this. Okay. And a lot of times you might be able to avoid a near-death experience because you're taking the time to form a personal bond and listen to what Spirit's trying to tell you.
And when we're sleeping, we go into various states of REM sleep, theta sleep, etc. A lot of times we do leave our bodies, and when we leave our bodies, we're traveling in other dimensions. We usually leave and come back. We're tethered to our bodies. Yeah, Lakeside Laura, I'm gonna recommend, unless you really like that nightmare, try to gain a little bit of lucid dreaming skills. So you go, nope, and it could help. And you know what? We can definitely talk about that at Journey to Truth. I can't wait to meet you. Because those are
Absolutely, because there's going to be a thing there. I'm going to tell you right now, boom, what's going to come over. This can be a self-esteem fear issue that you are trying to deal with the way you feel like you appear to other people in public. And it might be that last little thing you need to let go of.
yeah, it could be
So,
anything, but a little
yeah,
bit of lucid dreaming, so you're gonna like, no, put on the brakes,
yeah,
can help also. So there's a lot. I mean, that the beauty of humanity is there's so many avenues and aspects and belief structures, and we have to find what works for us.
right, right. And sometimes it's just a fear. If something bothered you or something you're anxious about or whatnot, these types of dreams are just fear showing you there's a fear here, not necessarily of you being topless at school, because you know you weren't. Okay. But why is that fear emerging in your consciousness, in your subconscious to come out? So that's going to be some of what I know. It's coming. I felt it. Let me know if you don't mind, if Laura could tell me or whatnot, or you can come back on and tell us or whatnot. But I think that you're going to find that out. There is so much here, okay, and so much to unpack. We just want people to start thinking, okay, and be okay with going outside of the box, okay, being open to other ideas, other facets, other things. Could this be happening? Yes. Could it
Yeah,
not be happening? Yes. You know, it's up to the individual, okay, and that's a big thing.
yeah, it is,
So,
and I hope we answered questions with NDEs. I've not had one directly, but I've had angelic encounters that are, I'm going to say, similar to what an NDE would experience based on the work that I do. And I've had a lot of clients along the way that have had NDEs. And a lot of it comes down to messaging and soul missions and realignment, and to teach us what is valuable in life also.
absolutely. And
And I
Gillian, this is a very powerful statement. Every night we go to sleep without a guarantee of
Mhm.
waking up or living tomorrow, but we still set an alarm. That's hope. Okay. That's having faith. Oh, I'm waking up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, it is. It's very powerful. And when we have that knowledge, that gets into faith, that gets into hope. And that's very, very powerful. So, Miss Laura, you got anything you want to throw out here at the end?
Journey to Truth is coming. So if you don't if you're not coming, you can still get a virtual pass. I'll be posting that and sending that out in my email here soon. Super excited about this. I'll be talking about voice to skull technology and mind control aspects and how to break free from them. Because I'm all about the solutions. We talk about problems till the cows come home, but when do we talk about a solution, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I've got some things brewing. Like I said, classes, we're working. We've actually literally started working on tarot classes, things like that. They're going to be coming soon and how to get them out there. So those are in progress. This other class is in progress. A lot going on. Going to be some changes. It's going to be very exciting and different things to happen. So everybody stay tuned. Be back on
All
Monday,
right.
or Friday night, 8:30. Okay. And I'll be doing live readings then. Okay.
Okay.
So, that's where we're going to go. Okay.
All right. And Miss Tootie put up a thing if they wanted to reach out to me about the Journey to Truth conference, I can send an email too. So, all right.
Okay.
Thank you for
Very
that.
good.
All right.
Very good.
Awesomeness. All
All right,
right. Thank
everybody.
you.
So remember, take what you want, leave what you don't, but leave having experienced some peace, love, and light. Banger.